Hey Kentucky, this is Mary Jo Perino. Tonight, Bernie Sanders takes aim at Mitch McConnell during a Louisville visit. Mark Stoops talks UK football ahead of the first game of the season. And we visit with former Franklin County quarterback Logan Woodside. All that and more is next on Hey Kentucky. Well, welcome everybody to Hey Kentucky, presented by Wendy's. Former mayoral candidate and Lexington Councilman Kevin Stinnett is my co-host tonight. This has been a long time coming, my friend.
It has.
We've been trying to get you in here. You're here. Let's do this.
And it's Happy Monday, my favorite day of the week.
Well, agree to disagree.
I understand.
All right, let's get started with Senator Bernie Sanders, who made his first Kentucky stop of the 2020 presidential campaign yesterday with a visit to Louisville, where he rallied a crowd to help make a change in the upcoming elections. Sanders laid out his priorities, including the people of Kentucky, especially the coal miners in Harlan County, who have been protesting for their lost wages for weeks. Mitch McConnell was also one of the keys to the speech, as Sanders urged the Senate Majority Leader to bring a number of bills up for a vote.
Hear that, Senator McConnell? 10 out of the 25 poorest counties in this country are located right here in your state. Stop turning your back on your constituents. Why don't you listen to the people of Kentucky and America, not just the billionaire class?
All right, among the issues Sanders wants to tackle are raising the minimum wage, single-payer health care, and fighting global warming, which Sanders urged was not an attack on Kentuckians. Following the senator's visit, Governor Bevin weighed in with this rebuttal.
These are the kind of things that we want to reject here in Kentucky, not only with Crazy Bernie, but with Andy Beshear this fall in November. This is an opportunity for you to choose, not only in 2019, but again in 2020.
Of course, Mitch McConnell continues to be a target of aim. Oh, I'm sorry. See, I'm not that good at this, Kevin, is the thing. Okay, so Bernie visits Louisville, says, I'm not against the coal miners, I'm against climate change. What do you think that resonates with people here?
First of all, Bernie needs to quit yelling at us. Second of all, tell us how he's going to pay for the issues that he supports. And third, he's not going to win the Democratic nomination. So him coming here and not being recognized by the governor candidate and the senatorial candidate is a big deal. They didn't even recognize he was here.
So Mitch McConnell is the lightning rod, though, that's kind of aligning all the Democrats together. Smart.
Well, yeah, of course. You know, if Bernie really wants to work on something with Mitch McConnell, why don't they work on term limits? Why don't we have a time where we have a limited amount you can spend in Congress and the Senate, because they both have been there too long.
All right. Of course, so Mitch McConnell continues to be a target of Amy McGrath campaign as she ramps up her Senate bid for 2020. The retired Marine released a new campaign ad Friday that calls out McConnell for not doing enough for coal miners. In the spot, a Pike County miner talks about a trip to see the senator in Washington that it took 10 hours to make, but ended with McConnell speaking to the miners for 1 minute.
It was a 10-hour bus ride. We were coal miners with black lung disease, going to see our Senator Mitch McConnell to try and save our disability benefits. 10 hours on a bus, and we got to see him for all of 1 minute.
I learned in the Marines to leave no one behind. But after 34 years in Washington, Mitch McConnell left our coal miners behind years ago. The question for anyone in Congress is, which side are you on?
The trip was taken last month by miners with black lung disease, trying to convince McConnell and his colleagues to help their medical care through reinstating a higher excise tax. His campaign spokesman says nobody has done more for coal miners than Mitch McConnell, and that McGrath is trying to mislead voters about his record. Nobody has done more for the coal miners than Mitch McConnell. That sounds very Trump-esque right there. It's always going to be, it feels like a political football to me, Kevin, which just drives me insane.
Yeah, I mean, this is opposite of what she was. We saw a year ago with the coal miners, and it may be too little too late. It's a great ad. It's a great strategy to try to bring in those coal miners and those folks who support coal. But I think it's a flip-flop from where she was a year ago, and that's going to be trouble for her, and it does smell like politics.
Truly on both sides, because I think we do have to, we have to grow away from coal. Probably, you know, I mean, it's just like the reality of the world. Now we've got to find something to bring to Eastern Kentucky to help those folks as well.
You're exactly right. Can you imagine showing up for work, working 40 hours, and then going home, getting your paycheck, and all of a sudden it bounces? That's a tough deal, and this is the tip of the iceberg, I think,
I
and
can't
what's going to
imagine
happen.
that, but yeah, the Black Jewel Mining Company and its workers, they continue to take twists and turns for that very reason. Miners aren't the only ones awaiting payment following the company's bankruptcy. An investment firm named Riverstone Holdings is owed $32 million in loan payments, and court documents show Riverstone will get priority in assessing any recovered money. Meanwhile, Black Jewel is seeking a legal remedy to getting their coal trains moving again. Some of the miners have been blocking those trains from passing along a set of tracks in Harlan County, but the company has appealed to a judge to let the trains pass. Kevin, I just feel for these guys so much. I truly do. And this is, I love what they've done, to be honest with you.
Well, this is a big company, and being in the investment business that took advantage of a company that was in desperate need of cash. And, you know, the fault lies with the owners of the company. Accepting those terms of that contract, it basically was a pawn loan, essentially, to that company. And now the workers who should be protecting are the ones that have to face the fallout.
All right. A federal appeals court has ruled the state of Kentucky will have to pay nearly $250,000 in attorney's fees to couples who were refused marriage licenses by former Broward County Clerk Kim Davis. Davis stopped issuing marriage licenses when the Supreme Court legalized same-sex marriage nationwide, citing her religious beliefs. She was jailed for a short time for contempt of court and sued by couples to whom she had denied licenses. Although Governor Bevin sided with Davis publicly, his lawyers argued she should be responsible for any judgment since she acted on her own as a locally elected official. Meanwhile, the federal court also ruled that two of the couples can sue Davis in her individual capacity for denying them the right to marry. Kevin, should the state of Kentucky pick up these attorney fees?
This is the perfect lesson that people need to wake up and know who they're electing on their local level. Because local officials here in Lexington too have made mistakes in the past that we all have to pay for when it comes to tax dollars being spent to settle lawsuits. And yes, we should. We should. She was acting in her official capacity. She made an error. She went against the law. We should have to pay.
And that stinks for taxpayers, but you make a great point. We get so high level with the presidency and Senate when truly the biggest impact on our lives are the local elections.
So pay attention. They have to, because we control parks, police, everything that you do daily, the local officials control.
All right. Turning to Kentucky football. Yes, the Cats will be, not this, but the Cats will be without one of their defensive veterans to start the season Saturday, but I am happy the season's starting Saturday. Senior defensive lineman Phil Hoskins will miss the first 2 games of the year due to an academic problem. Sophomore Abulay Abadi Fitzgerald is listed in his place on the depth chart behind Calvin Taylor at defensive tackle. Meanwhile, fans wondering about Xavier Peters' eligibility will have to keep waiting. Coach Mark Stoops says the NCAA has not made a ruling on the transfer from Florida State, but even if he's cleared to play, don't expect him to get rushed into action.
For him to be totally new in our system, takes some time. And you've heard me say it a bunch of times about that position. It's most definitely a different position. It takes there's a lot of nuances to playing outside linebacker and standing up on your feet. So, it'll take some time.
You can tell it's game week because is there enough caffeine on Stoops' little podium there? 2 Cokes and a Starbucks. Like, he has got to be jacked up this week. The state of the defense, I still think that's going to be a major question mark going into the season, but I'm so happy this season is here.
Oh, I'm so happy I could do a 3-point stance right now and rush the cameraman. I can't wait. And Stoops showed that he was excited. This is probably going to be his easiest Monday press conference, given that he'll have one after each game coming up. So I'm excited. I think the defensive line is going to be better than most people know and think. So is the offensive line. And that's where the game starts, having been played both positions.
It's the secondary I'm worried about. I think you're right. I think eventually the defensive line will be fine. Up next on Hey Kentucky, we're going to visit with a former Franklin County quarterback who's seen some ups and downs since hitting the pros, but now he's battling for a roster spot with the Tennessee Titans. Ryan Lemon catches up with Logan Woodside after the break.